Ladies and gentlemen, Natan Verkhovsky here, founder of the Essential Academy. So incredibly happy to bring you a wonderful fireside chat with a gentleman, a friend, and a person that I hold in incredibly high esteem, Mr. Howard Sambol. He's the founder and director of the Life Crafting Program. Last 3 decades plus, he's been focusing his entire life on guiding, clarifying your purpose, passion, gifts, and making money doing what you love. He's an award winning author of Craft Your Genius Life and a master astrologer with over 30 years of experience. That and a whole bunch, like a laundry list of other cool things that makes him awesome. That's why I'm proud to call him a friend. Today's specific conversation that we're going to be having is about the last couple of years where he's been revolving his area of focus and specialty specifically around a financial freedom program where he's coming in at an angle that right now, at the incredible time that we have in this world, and if you know and if you don't, and this is going to be a very enlightening conversation because I'm coming in quite genuinely from the point of I don't know, and I get Howard to enlighten me, and it's going to be wonderful. There are monetary shifts that are happening, like plutonic shifts that happen underwater or over land and stuff, and because of that, consequences will happen. And so he and his brilliance has been able to come up with freedom programs tied to Bitcoin, tied to financial freedom. And I'm interested to learn more. In today's talk, I'm going to put myself out as a volunteer, do a little bit of a case study. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's get onto it. Let me introduce to you the wonderful Howard.
Hey, Natan, so great to see you. So great to be here with you.
Awesome. 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 This is great. So we get a chance to go. Let me dive right into it. Let's say I have $1,000. I heard Bitcoin's a big deal and it's about to become a bigger deal. And I say, Howard, what should I do? I want to invest $1,000 in Bitcoin. Good idea, bad idea. What do you suggest?
Well, I mean, there's really a lot of really good options, Natan. I mean, you could certainly buy a Bitcoin for $1,000 and just put it away and let it be there and do nothing and watch it,
Okay.
which would certainly be an okay thing to do, a good thing to do. Okay. The only thing is, from my perspective, I like to people to know the reasons why they're doing something and have a little bit of a bigger picture or a bigger intention or a greater clarity. So some questions that would come up for me would be like, why are you attracted to Bitcoin in the first place? Is it just something you heard about or somebody you
Right now,
respect?
yes. I just heard about I like everything from El
Yeah,
Salvador to
yeah,
Guatemala
no, I
and Venezuela.
understand.
Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of these Latin American, it seems, almost third world countries that are adapting it. So there has to be something behind that. And I was like,
Right. And my suggestion, Natan, is what I like to do is I like to give people or help people get a foundation of
okay,
understanding what makes Bitcoin unique, that has never happened before on this planet in its entire history. And I find that when people understand that, it gives them a foundation of understanding. It gives them the faith, a confidence, a gut level, you know what I
do
mean?
it.
Like
That
a
sounds
gut
good.
level
Talk to me.
feeling.
All right,
Yeah.
so tell me.
So, do you feel like you have a general background of fiat money that has existed for hundreds and thousands of years and how it's always essentially the same thing of governments, printing endless money and exploiting the population and inflating money? So, which is basically a form of robbery, of stealing the spending. I mean, do you have a general understanding that that has been the dominant pattern for a long time? If not, I mean, you
Yes,
people can learn that.
from
There's
central
ways of
banks to
learning
the
that.
Federal Reserve. Yes.
Yeah, so all that's there. So my suggestion for people is if you don't already have that background, get that background. I'm not saying spend 20 hours. I'm only saying spend an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, and just learn the basics of what has been before we go on to what will be, to what
Okay.
is and will be. Okay. Once you've made that change, learn the 3 or 4 extremely important characteristics of Bitcoin, of what makes it special. I could share that with you now if you
Do it.
like.
Do it. Do it.
Yeah,
Bring me the
yeah,
value
okay.
right now.
Bitcoin is never does never have any corporation or CEO behind it. It's not a company with a board of directors or a stockholders or any of this junk. It is purely code. It's a block of code that a guy by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto created in 2009, and he gave it away as a gift to the world. And the code contains this incredibly simple and yet profound concept of a ledger on an open ledger on a network around the planet that's completely decentralized. But what makes it really unique and special, and that is there's a fixed amount of Bitcoin, 21 million Bitcoin. There will never be more Bitcoin ever. It's written in the code. So we have a fixed supply. And what we also have is an exponentially increasing demand. Okay. As more and more people understand that US dollars or Canadian dollars or euros or whatever are basically just like melting ice cubes, where their value, their spending power is just melting away.
Okay.
More and more people are saying, wait a minute, I want something that's really solid and really stable and really scarce. And they're finding Bitcoin is checking off those boxes. It's really matching up all the criteria of a money that is sound, that cannot be stopped, cannot be controlled, cannot be inflated, cannot be manipulated. There is no way to derail it or stop it. It's like a runaway train. Like global adoption is happening. It cannot be stopped. And now the big thing for 2024
Go on.
is major institutional investment companies like BlackRock, Fidelity, and companies like that with hundreds of billions of dollars or trillions of dollars in assets under management are recognizing this phenomenon, and they're saying, we want a piece of the pie, so we're going to create a spot Bitcoin ETF, which is nothing more than an intermediary piece between your typical John Q American or Canadian who knows nothing, who doesn't want to take any risks and be afraid.
Okay.
We're going to be that intermediary where we're going to hold their hand and we're going to make it nice and smooth and very
Okay.
easy. While meanwhile, we make billions on the fees we charge them because these people are just too afraid to just go out and buy some Bitcoin. They're just too afraid. Anyway, the point is, we've got $200 billion going into the space. What do you think is going to happen to the price of Bitcoin when this influx of capital comes in from these major institutional investment companies? Through the roof, just through the roof. Okay, double, triple, 10x. Insane, crazy numbers. Okay, and this is likely to happen just in 2024, not even really looking beyond that point. Okay, so that really covers it right there. Okay, if you wanted, if a
So
person
let's
listening
unwrap
to this
that. Let's unwrap that because you've been
yeah,
speaking for a while, and I want the people to
yeah,
be able to follow
yeah,
a
yeah,
couple
absolutely.
main
Yeah, go
points that we
ahead.
want to do. So bring that back and summarize it really briefly for us.
Fixed supply, exponentially increasing demand, global adoption, explosive pricing, buy some Bitcoin.
All
How
right,
does it, how does,
so let's go now back to I've got $1,000. I want to buy some Bitcoin. Now you've given us the foundation. That's what we
yeah,
needed to know about Bitcoin. Now that we know, what's my next step?
buy Bitcoin and
Where
put
and
it in,
how?
put, well, buy it on any exchange you can,
Okay.
and Coinbase or Kraken or a Canadian exchange if you like, and get it off the exchange immediately. Do never, ever leave Bitcoin on an internet exchange. Buy it and get it off. What getting it off means, move it to a private wallet on a private device, protected by your private seed phrase, your private keys, or what's commonly referred to as your private seed phrase. And if you don't know what that is, You can research it on your own. You can do
Okay.
YouTube videos.
I've
You
done it
can
before. It's got
contact
like
me. I'm
13
happy to
words or
explain.
something crazy and stuff. I've seen that. I've made one. It was
No,
like,
there's nothing crazy. There's nothing crazy. It's what's confusing? You mean the seed phrase is confusing? You don't know what that means?
no, I'm saying it was crazy because there was like 13 different words that was all in order and stuff like that. Was like, wow, it was nuts.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. But let me ask you, because in this
You want
context,
me to unravel some of that, or
yeah, if you're looking at saying, okay, go to any exchange, buy the Bitcoin, get it off the exchange, put it onto this cold storage type unit, where do you buy this? You go to Amazon and buy one of these, or what do
okay?
you do?
Let me simplify. Let me back up and simplify.
There we
Okay,
go.
there. If you have a Windows laptop or a Mac laptop,
Okay.
you can get a you can download a free software wallet and put it on your device. It's free. It downloads. It's just a couple minutes. You set it up. You install it, and you move your Bitcoin from the exchange where you bought it directly down to your wallet software on your device. Okay.
Okay.
I prefer laptops to mobile phones. It's
What
just
about
my
desktop, laptop, same thing?
laptop and Windows Mac laptop are
But I'm
both
saying desktop and laptop, same thing? That's the same for you?
same thing, same
Good.
thing.
Thank you.
Not
Okay.
any difference at all. Now, when you set up when you set it up, you will have, the software will give you 12 English words in a specific order.
Yeah,
That is the seed phrase.
that's what I
You
remember.
write those down. You never share them with a single human being. You never put them in any electronic
Yeah.
storage. You never email them. You never photograph them with your phone. You handwrite the 12 words in precise order on a piece of paper, which you then store in a very, very secure place,
Okay.
possibly share with a trusted family member if you feel really that is appropriate. From that point on, you are at least in the ballpark of general security and protection. It's not the be all and end all,
So
but
the
it's
wallet
phase
that is on
one.
my desktop or laptop is what I've
Correct.
offloaded the Bitcoin that I just purchased off of
No,
the
no, no, no,
page.
no, 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 no. Everything is on your wallet, on
Right?
your device.
That's what I just said.
Your device. That's it.
Yep, that's
There's
what I
no
just said.
Yeah, yeah, you might have a transaction in which you would sell or buy, in other words, transfer in or out, because a wallet can send and receive. So you can send and receive. But the Bitcoin you own is in your own wallet on your own device. That's the
See, that's
important.
and that's my safe thing. So do I need to physically take that off and put it on like, some kind of a device thing and
Oh, no, 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 no,
yeah,
no, 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 no,
gotcha.
no.
That's cool.
Here, first of all, let me explain something to you. With regard to Bitcoin, storage and security. There are levels to this thing. I'm not giving you tonight every level.
Thank you. We wanted an overview, but
I'm giving you a starting point,
okay.
just a starting point. What I just described to you is what I consider to be the minimum level of security that for a newbie just starting out
Okay.
with $200 or $1,000 of Bitcoin, that will suffice. What you
Put it
have
on your desktop, put it on your
once you
laptop.
start getting into 10, 20, 30, $50,000 of Bitcoin or more, you got to go to a whole other level. This is never going to be
So
the
let's
level of
let's
security.
pause that, but out of curiosity, crossing my fingers for our viewers and the people coming and possibly wanting to know more. Is there an event? Is there something coming up where you could dive deeper into some of those level 2, level 3 type things?
Well, I mean, I can do an event, but to be honest, I think that to be truthful, I really think it's best really to keep it to be a private conversation, because there are variables that come into play with each individual. Like, for
Ah, and that's
example,
personal. I like that. That's
yeah, it gets personal. It gets
yep, that makes
personal
sense.
really,
That
really
makes
fast.
sense. That makes sense.
Because I need to ask questions of somebody in to understand their finances and what their larger goals are and what their financial
What their risk tolerance is, for sure.
circumstances.
That makes all sense. Yeah. Yeah.
So many circumstances,
Yeah.
so many complexities. Even people's attitudes and beliefs and emotional patterns with money will directly come into play in their success with investing in Bitcoin. Everything affects everything
Ooh, so
else.
let's talk about that for a minute because we've talked about some of the physical mechanisms. I think everyone listening right now knows that you have the acumen and that you have the
Yeah.
chops and you know what you're talking about. You've been doing this for decades. And that is wonderful. Let's look on some of the other side where we go, hey, let's say, forget $1,000, say you got $1,000,000. And you're like, Natan, why do you want to invest $1,000,000? And I don't give you any better an answer than I first gave you for $1,000. Oh, hey, Howard, I heard it's a big deal, and a couple Latin American countries are doing it. I got $1,000,000 to invest. What do you suggest? What
Well, if
advice?
you said that to me, we would have, of course, a private conversation,
Would
first of
make
all.
sense.
And then I would go through referring them to some very specialized videos where the video goes through a very, very precise set of instructions of how to get a cold storage device. There are several of them on the market. There's a bunch of them. I don't want to get into brands or any of that right today,
That's
but there
smart.
are many of them, and we would simply determine their situation, their technology, maybe their comfort level with
For sure.
technology, for example. And then we would center in on a specific cold storage solution. But then the really bigger issue rises. Where is this $1,000,000 sitting right now? Where is it living right now?
Right.
Because if $1,000,000 is in a bank account, or if the $1,000,000 is in the stock market, or if it's in a 401k, or we got a major hurdle to overcome because the powers that be, or the powers that shouldn't be,
That's good.
do not want money being transferred out of the legacy financial system into Bitcoin.
Right.
They are in what we call chokehold 2.0. Okay.
So let
To
me ask you,
define
so that we don't give away the farm, if somebody wants to get more info and wants to book a one-on-one with you, which seems more appropriate than having some sort of a group event, and thank you for that, because a lot of people, they have a webinar and this and that. It might work, it might not, but even if down the road you do have an open house or something like that, we can always promote that and have another conversation. In this one, I wanted to set the foundation. I want to be able to use this video to send out to the world so that people go, hey, if I didn't understand the basics of Bitcoin, number one, now I do. And if I don't understand where it fits into the global economics and me personal and my finances, now I do. And if I don't understand why, now is the best time. And is very fundamentally different in the next 52 weeks compared to what we just did in the last 52 weeks. This video is absolutely critical for you.
I agree. I agree 1,000% of the
Okay.
time.
Okay.
This is the time. This is the absolute time. There is no tomorrow. There is no. Hey, can I just share a quick little funny thing with you?
Please. Thank you.
There, whenever there's a major change in society, going back thousands of years, there are always three groups. The first group are the trailblazers, the one that herald they're the ones that go out and
Yes.
they're trailblazers. The second group are the people who are the sideliners. They stay on the sidelines watching and watching and watching. They mostly do nothing. If they do anything, it's very minimal, and they just stay on the sidelines until a long time has passed, and then it's over. And then the third group of people are the ones who are oblivious to all of it. They don't know anything has even happened, but then after it's all done, they go, "What happened?" So that's it. That's the story. Okay.
I
So the
like
people
that. I like that.
watching this video today can ask themselves, which group do I want to be in? And then once you know which group you want to be in, then just get in touch with me and I'll help you do that.
That's so cool. Thank you for that. Because there's people who don't know and they're terrified. And, like,
Yeah.
let's say you're trying to come online or you're online and you're trying to find new clients. And then you're like, oh, I need to do
I
Facebook
mean, let
ads.
me share something with you about people who are afraid. If
Please.
I work with individuals in Venezuela who literally nothing, okay,
Wow.
penny by our standards, and if I can take some of these people in Venezuela, they do have a phone, they do have a,
Good.
a mobile
Good.
device, even though they don't know where they're going to eat tomorrow, but they still have a mobile phone. And if I could help that person install an app on their phone, we call it a Lightning app, because Lightning is a form of Bitcoin that transmits very, very fast at zero cost. Okay. So I can have them put a Lightning app on their phone, and then I, in America, can send them $3 or $5, which arrives in their wallet on their phone in literally 2 seconds at zero cost. And now imagine, put yourself in this place just for a moment.
That's
As a
huge.
man or woman, you're holding your phone. Here's a man who is 8,000 miles away from you. He doesn't know you. He never met you, but he's sending you $5 and it arrives in 2 seconds at zero cost. Okay.
That's huge.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a paradigm shift beyond what even most people's mind can even comprehend. But what I want the people watching this video is I want you to ask yourself, if you're afraid, what about this guy in Venezuela? Are you more afraid than him? Are you willing to do what the guy in
Yeah.
Venezuela just did? If he's willing to have an app and just receive five, can you do the same thing?
Yeah.
I have a person right here in California near me. I wanted to give her a Christmas present. I want from my heart. I wanted to give her a Christmas present to send her lightning. She said no thanks.
That's crazy.
Yeah, well, no, but it's a good example. You see my point? It's a good example
You have people all over the
how
world that you're
ingrained
connected to with
belief
this.
and emotional patterns will dictate more often than not 90% of what happens with money, regardless of the form,
Yes.
regardless
Yes.
what form it takes. It doesn't matter
Yes.
the form.
They've said that repeatedly that, you take all the wealth in the world and let's say you equally divided it amongst all the people, give it a
Yeah.
year and the wealthy will be right back to where they started because they know what to do and how to do it. And you're like, what? Oh, okay.
But
But
they did a similar experiment in a time. They about 20 or 30 years ago, they took five millionaires in different locations around the US. They took all their money away. They emptied their bank accounts. They took all their contacts and they sent them to a brand new city where they didn't know a single soul. This is
hmm,
pre-internet days. This is
hmm,
pre-internet. They couldn't send an email to somebody, right?
right.
They put them in a new city where they didn't know a single soul and they didn't have any bank accounts and they didn't have any money. And within 1 or 2 years, every one of these millionaires in all these strange places recreated the same wealth again
Yeah.
that they had originally.
Yeah.
The same idea. The same idea.
There's a
And
very big difference with that level one, that people that are servicing with service or products, that level two, that are people that are becoming problem solvers and really going above and beyond. And if you get a chance to speak one on one with Howard, he's a brilliant human being that you'll very quickly understand is there to help you, not brag about himself or talk about his accomplishments, which would take an hour on top of this interview. And it's blessings that we have access to him and his ability to speak specifically about the success that he has that is replicatable, duplicatable, and isn't just some pie in the sky theory that he read in a book, that he's lived, he's done, and he's gone through that himself. And he's also brought so many people through that. So speak
it's
for
so
a moment.
amazingly simple. It's confoundingly simple. And in its simplicity, it is oftentimes inaccessible because of its simplicity.
Mm,
That's the paradox of the time we live in today.
yeah. Yep. And I could see that because there's people that I talk to when, I get out of my little online bubble and,
So,
15,000 people know you and you're this and that and the other thing. And you're like, ooh, you're a big deal in emails and texts and this and that. And you feel like you're alive in this world. But then you go out to the regular world and you try to explain who you are or what you do. And it's just completely completely confounding and different because people are just looking at you and scratch their head and go, "What do you mean?" Like, "Oh, I'm independently wealthy. I'm a Bitcoin millionaire. I'm, somebody who lives online. I'm a content creator on YouTube." Like, these things are just like, I've heard about this strange animal that lives in the forest, but come on. I thought it was mythical. I didn't know that was real. That's crazy. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
such a blessing to be able to meet somebody that can pragmatically, and Howard has advanced degrees in everything from mathematics to psychology, above and beyond the other things that he's done. He can guide you through the mindset issues. He can get you to the methodology that is necessary to make sure that you get the money issues. And then from there, the rest is just put the two back together with the right mindset and the right mechanism for money. You can actually do some good. Howard's doing good around the world. He's got groups in the Philippines he's got groups in like all over the world that he's reaching out and trying to help and trying to do good. That's why we're blessed to have him at the Essential Academy as a tenured instructor with us. We love the work he does. We love the message. We love the impact. And we as a not-for-profit want to be part of that.
Thank you so much, Natan.
Of course.
It's a real I just really appreciate your acknowledgement. Really do.
Of course, it's a big deal, and not everyone does it. And I can tell you that there's other people that come to a golden age in their life, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm millions. I'm going to retire. I've made an influence. I've made a family. I made a love." Like some people are good, and other people are like, "I want to leave a legacy." And if you're blessed enough to get a chance to speak with Howard, I highly suggest you do. I'll put contact info in below, and you can see it in the chat, and that'll give you the chance to really genuinely reach out, get yourself on your own plane, on your own track, and really see what that looks like for you. And I think if anyone,
Always an individual path for
it
each
has to
person.
be, yeah. And if I could ever recommend anyone that would look at you as a genuine and humanly proper, like holistically, a gestalt individual
Yeah.
that's composed of so many different parts that make you uniquely you, yes, Howard would recognize you as such. So I leave you to it. I would suggest you do it, especially before the new year. The man's going to get busy. That's my promise. And I'm getting busy ever since. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We will get back to you shortly. Howard, spin us out.
Yeah, well, this is the time, this is the pivotal time. So if you're ever gonna really make the shift,
Mm,
this is the time to do it. This is the pivotal time. Very, very rare to live at a time like this when such a profound, monumental change is happening on a global scale. And we're blessed with that. We're blessed with that gift of this time.
yes.
Just take advantage of it. It's all I
Yes.
can say. All
I
I can.
heard the other day, I heard when was the first best time to buy Bitcoin? And they're like, when it first came out. They're like, when's the second best time to buy Bitcoin? Now.
Now,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we will leave it at that. And if you need to know more, for the love of God, book a time with Howard. Let him talk to you. It's a no-cost complimentary consultation. It'll align you in so many different levels and in so many different ways than you normally could be on just a purely financial level. This is spiritual, it's cosmic, it's personalized, it's done in a completely different way. So, take my word for it and my vouching. Howard is the
Thank you,
real deal.
Natan.
For
Thank you
sure.
very much. We
For sure.
appreciate it. And it was a pleasure speaking to you about this today. I
Awesome.
enjoyed it.
It'll be the first
I
of many
enjoyed it.
conversations. And ladies and gentlemen, know that we will be bringing other people into this fireside chat. These will be wonderfully heated conversations. We're going to get insightful and spiteful, and we're going to get to play around and dance. So, first of many, talk soon.
Thank you.